and the steering rod then hooks, the tie rod then hooks into your steering rack way over there. So what we're doing, like I said, is we're going to cut this right here. We're going to cut that steering stop off, and then we're going to bring it out a little bit further this way and a little bit further to the bottom and to the top. Because if I turn this wheel right now, you will see that this stop right here is hitting right there on that stop right there. So here we go, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And as I turn, boom, you see right there how this steering arm right here actually goes underneath this steering stop when the suspension is all the way out. So if you're going in a driveway catty-cornered, this will get stuck underneath this right here once the suspension starts to level out. So we're going to extend, as a matter of fact, it's a little stuck now. There we go. So we're going to extend this down a little ways, out a little ways, and up a little ways, so that it will stop that steering stopper from getting stuck under it. Plus, it will also stop the tire from going too far when you're making the turn and hitting the end of the rack here, and it will stop the tire from hitting the bumper frame right there. So there's a lot to do on that, and you can see we even painted the caps for the ball joints. So they're a nice, again, they are the cast iron gray, and it's all painted nicely. It's just because this car is a very nice car. Look at how nice that wheel well looks. When you look underneath this thing, look at how beautiful that looks. Nice and clean. And then we have all the lines now in. We have all the lines correctly bent to get everywhere, the correct horseshoe clips to hold everything in. Everything is done correctly. We even took the old screws that they had holding the steering in, and we put grade 8s in there instead of the crap screws that they had in there. They were just junk screws. They weren't even a grade 5. So we did the right thing. We will be cleaning all that up that holds the steering column in place and get that all nice. And then I also want to show you on the back over here, we now have the brake lines in, and anywhere that we run a wire or a line through a piece of metal or a metal hole, we always put a grommet in it. They did not have the grommet in. They had it hooked up without the grommet. So this, as it moves around in here, as the suspension goes up and down, we'll do this and rub on that sharp piece of metal, and sooner or later we'll end up cutting through stuff and making problems. So we have that all fixed up now and all nice and neat. Everything looks good. And the same thing, cleaned out all the wheel wells, got them all undercoated, finished painting all the frame, put the finish coats on it because they only had it primered back here. So we put all the finish coats on it, and it looks beautiful. Came out really nice. Now back here, I want to show you some of the stuff that they screwed up and left us with without telling us anything. This is a distribution block for the rear brakes. If you look at it closely, you will see how chewed up the end of that is. Luckily, we go through everything. We go through every inch of the car when we get them. And we noticed that right away. As soon as we saw it, it was just one of those holy crap moments. And this was the hose that went into it, which we have now replaced and put the steel braided lines in, which are a much better line. And you could see how messed up the threads are on that. Now, we're talking, these are your brakes. You have this kind of stuff going on with your brakes, it's going to leak fluid, and sooner or later, it's not going to want to stop. So we're replacing all of this stuff. They used the old, I don't know why they wouldn't have spent the extra 2 cents and bought new horseshoe clips, but they used the old original horseshoe clips that were in the car. I never use these over because they get flattened out and then they don't hold and they fall off, and then your brake lines are hanging in the wind. Another thing they did, if you look at this, this is one of my power steering lines. See where they ground right through the power steering line? Yeah, that would have leaked. As soon as we would have started the car up, it would just shot fluid everywhere, because this is a high pressure line and it's pushing a few 100 pounds per square inch. So that would have shot fuel, power steering fluid everywhere, and being that it is right next to the header, that would have shot it right on the header, and if the header got hot enough, it would actually burn and catch on fire. We also redid the hood pull, so the release for the hood, we put a new one in. Gillen had told us that they left the old one in there and it looked like crap, so we bought a brand new one and we're putting all that in. The steering, when they tightened it, they over-tightened it. They didn't torque it to specs. When they torqued it like that, when they tightened it down too much, it actually ended up cracking the keeper, the bolt keeper. Now what happens is the bolt sits in there and you bend these wings over the bolt and it holds the bolt in place. Well, if you don't torque it to the spec that the company says you're supposed to torque it to, they crack and they break. And the reason they use this is because it's a very light torque. You don't need a lot of foot-pounds to hold the bolts in. So that's why they use these as keepers to hold the bolt in place. So, you know, it's nice when people put the cars together, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to read the instructions. That's what they're there for, to tell you how to do it and what to torque everything to. And we also had a broken parking brake cable, so we're replacing that as well. We're also going to be getting rid of the flat style collectors for the exhaust system for the headers, and we're going to be putting on these ball and socket style headers collectors. Where'd they go? Oh, he must have put them away. Oh well, I'll have to show you that another time. But these are a bunch of the parts that are going into this that we've ordered. Nice, everything looks good. Eckler's ground up, Corvette Central. There's a whole bunch of places we have parts that we bought for this car from. Yeah, see, box full of parts. And then when we get them in, we write down what's in the box and what we used. So this way we know that was in that box. Well, I need the courtesy light. There it is, right there. I need the cigarette lighter. There it is. You go over here. Oh, the dash vents were in this box. We already took them out and used them. So you know they're in the car already. So it makes for a much nicer install of everything and really easy to keep track of everything. We're waiting on all of this kind of stuff for the air conditioning. So a lot done, a lot going on. I will keep you up to date as we go. I'll talk to you real soon. Have fun. Okay, bye.